You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love. Hello, welcome to joining us here in the Skateboarding Bros Show. It's kind of more of a mobcast than a podcast. We're going to talk with Alan Gelfand. He invented a move called Ollie it was like 10 years ago. And since then, it's had a big impact on the skateboarding. Alan's out of Florida, along with Kelly Slater and Rodney Mullen and a couple other guys. So we asked him here to just chat with us and find out what happened for 5 or 6 years of incredible skyrocketing. And we really appreciate you coming in, Alan. Thank you very much.
I'm honored, man. You guys are legends.
So, well, yeah, for me, to me, and maybe to you, but if you ask my wife, it's not the case. I have one question.
Mine's, but not mine.
So I have one question for you before I kind of mute out, because Tim and George are going to drive this thing. Can you briefly tell me what happened? You were one day skating in Lauderdale, Hollywood, and then within 6 months to a year, all of a sudden, boom. How did they get in touch? How did Stacy find you? What happened? By the
way, I was skating for quite a long time, doing high jump and slalom and stuff in the Florida Bible College contest in 76 or 7 or something like that. And I was skating, all I did was skate. I jumped out my parents' window and snuck out, and then they didn't even know I was gone, skating all the time. And, depending upon whose book you read, around 78 or 9 at Skateboard USA, which was real close to my house. If you cut through the empty lots, we would skate there nonstop. And I started doing Ollie pops on the lip. And then after a while, I could sometimes, because it was oververt in a little bank, a little slalom run type, small banks, I should say. And I would land back inside. And also there was a hip, and I could jump the hip and land back on the board. I've got a Polaroid picture of me doing it in a CCM helmet and old-fashioned knee pads with no cups on them.
Nice. Basketball knee pads, yeah.
Bentley, Bob Bentley and Boober Bentley, probably the best skateboarders at the time in our era that we saw, because you have to remember something. We didn't see what the people in Tampa were doing probably for a month or two, maybe. And then we didn't see what California was doing for 6 months to a year. So there was very probably, somebody in Australia doing Ollie airs, and people in South America and people in different pieces of America doing it. I never saw it, but there you go. That's the famous picture Bob Bentley took. At that particular spot, I don't think it's for sure. That spot, I would jump. It's a little hip there, and I would land back not on the lip most of the time, but on the actual wall. So that's like the first Ollie air. 90% of the time probably was Ollie pop in other parts of the run.
Yeah, but German Car Depot for all your German car needs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's it. In Hollywood, Florida.
Half my customers know my name is Ollie, call me Ollie, and most people call me Ollie. And half of them, they see all the emails from us and all the things. Hey, this is Alan, just making sure everything went fine. And I don't know who Alan is. Ollie owns that place. So it's really funny. So by the way, Tim, it's Alan Ollie Gelfand, by the way.
Oh, okay. So that's your real name now?
I do that because I'm not joking. Like, of people that even are my alleged friends, call me Ollie. I mean, and most customers say Ollie. It's really hilarious,
Well, I think it's cool. It's a sandwich you ordered, right?
It's a burger.
I have an Ollie license plate, but I don't have it registered to a car. I think it's too tacky. I grabbed the Florida Ollie tag.
But nobody else has it.
Yeah.
That's important. So tell me one more time. Can you tell me, you said it wasn't really about the tricks and who invented them, because we all co-invented something. Lord knows what it was. But if you didn't have any fun, what was the point? So you did love love skating. You love doing it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was young, I skated morning till night. Come on, and tell me we left the park before they closed ever?
No, they had to turn the lights off.
They said turn the lights off, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we kind of skate a little bit, depending upon where it was. No, I mean, you have to love what you do. And I remember back in like the late 90s to early 2000s, I see all these kids are getting sponsored, and they all keep talking, why do I want to skate? I still to this day I had an ESPN interview thing about a month ago. Guy came out to the house, and I always get a couple little things here and there, and that's one thing I always like to say. I mean, we skated because that's what we did. We loved it, and the camaraderie. Here it is, 40 plus years later. We're bros. We're talking like we're best of buddies. If I come visit, it's nothing, And the kid, I try to tell people this, and it's a quote somewhere. The people you skate with today, I don't know about the kids today like it is, but the people that we skated with when we were little are lifelong friends. Or we hated them for life, either way. But most of the time, they're lifelong friends,
Yeah.
So, this little 70-pound kid from Hollywood, Florida has a lot of real friends. A lot of pseudo friends, but lots of really good friends. I mean, I was in Germany, and I went to a store. I laid my credit card out, and this dude was stoked, man. He was like, Alan Gelfand, blah, 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 blah. I went to Sweden a bunch of years ago. Gave a card out. I mean, it's not that I'm like famous, but in very small circles, guys who are really into skating, you get it. And I always say, don't make a big deal about it. It's cool. We had a great time.
Yep.
The story behind the pants, right? Okay, so I'm skating one time, and they're going to film Skateboard Madness at possibly could have been the best pool ever made to date, except it poured raining and all the gunite poured back into the bottom. Kevin Pearson, Jeff Stewart, and myself personally dug the pool, and the owner of the skate park bought a lot of clay so we could mold it. And the wire mesh and the clay, the dirt was incredible. We had a pendulum and made perfect transitions. And just when the guys were spraying the gunite, the rains came down and pushed it all down and made it really kinky. But that front pool at Solid Surf is where Stacy Peralta came and saw me doing them, and I was locked. I was falling a lot, and he said, "If this is on a weekend," he said, "if you get that thing figured out, call me, and I'll fly to California." So of course, I nailed it and just did it for days, killing myself, and learned how to do it on the wall, not on the top. And next thing I know, I'm in Lakewood Skate Park when they're not open. 2 weeks later, filming for it was a skateboarder magazine with C.R. Stesic using a military camera, gigantic, heavy military camera, right below me, filming it. And lo and behold, it came out in the magazine. And that was pretty cool after that. Then
that was Triptychs? Was that the Triptychs article, or was that a different article?
No way. Triptychs is later than that. This is a Lakewood Skate Park.
Right.
With a multi-sequential shot of me doing Ollie.
Nice. So, but Alan, one of the other things here is you weren't just about the Ollie. You were a very, very good skater, very consistent, and you had a big bag of tricks. Now the Ollie was a
trick on. I never did a setup trick, if you remember that. And someday we're going to find out, because Ray Allen's going to mail me a bunch of footage that he took with 3/4-inch videotape, which he keeps promising me, but he'll do it eventually. And I got to see it at the Hall of Fame in California. And literally there was no, like back then, people do 5 or 6 backside airs and then do a trick.
Yeah.
And then 5 or 6 of something and do a trick. And then 3 or 4 of something and do a trick. Every single wall I did another trick on.
That's the thing.
When there was good scoring going on, I would score pretty well because the degree of difficulty and the amount of tricks I was doing, even if there were variations of those, were pretty cool, you know?
And that's how you ended up winning the Marina contest, was just the sheer volume of tricks. Was that right?
And also dropping into that crazy bowl dropping in and landing at the bottom of the bowl. I used to do those at drops. It was pretty fun, you know?
Well, yeah, there's that.
But yeah, that was a fun time, man. Christian Hosoi was there, and his dad ran the park, and he was a ripper. And a lot of great skaters were there, and it was a fun time, man.
This was obviously at Marina, but I don't think that this was during the contest.
No,
they're doing a fakey hangout.
Pool, different pool, I think. Maybe the same pool. Then that was like an Ollie pop, and I grabbed the tail, I think, to let it back in, you know?
Yep.
And this is on a Ray Bones board.
Yeah, I didn't have a board yet. They
Right.
wanted to keep amateurs, you know?
Very nice.
And speaking of your board, I've always had this question, simply because I remember the original ad for it, and it was the hand drawn where it says the Ollie, and it was hand drawn. Was that actually ever released with that, or what? Or was the final production
The tank track? I mean, the reissues are a little different, but the originals were, you know, my name and tanks. And the thing about it is, boards broke a lot back then, and we had no money, none of us, right? So when you broke a board, it really sucked. So I said to George, listen, let's not dry them so much. Let's make the boards really strong. And he went and built nose bones and tail bones instead. But I wanted my board, and everybody had some other graphics. I wanted my board as strong as a tank. And then everybody made fun of it because my board was heavy as a tank. They joke around, you know?
Well,
but they were strong boards, and they didn't sell a zillion. Even to this day, I think they stopped making the reissues because they got stuck with a lot of them. And they didn't make a lot of them. Somebody said that they emailed the Pal Peralta site, and they said, "Oh, we're not going to be reissuing those boards again." So all the ones you see on eBay are counterfeits, which is cool. Send them to me. I'll sign them for you for nothing. No problem.
that's nice.
So
And if anybody's watching this that has a couple of boards in my shop that I forgot to mail back, I didn't do it on purpose. I'm just behind a year or so. I've got 2 boards that some people mailed me, and I don't have the label or something, their return address, so I kind of have them there, and I don't want to keep them, but they're there. They're in my office.
Maybe they'll watch this podcast and reconnect with you.
Yeah.
how about the truck pattern? Tell me about that back truck.
Oh, the back trucks are always interesting, huh? My board didn't turn. I didn't carve.
That's right. Which is why you did slalom. Didn't you say you were doing slalom early on, but or were you tic-tacking through the cones?
It was like a Bennett trucks or something like that, you know. Really, really early on. High jumping, 4'11". I've got the newspaper article. I think it's in Craig Snyder's book, the Mystical Magical Ollie, I think it's called, and by Jeff Dewar. And what I don't understand is that Jeff Dewar is credited with inventing the Ollie. Well, a lot of people probably invented it, but there's not one picture in the book of Jeff. Kind of funny. But Jeff's a good buddy of mine for years, and he's a really good person, man. He saves us from everybody cutting down the forest and do all kinds of terrible things. He goes no skating anymore. He goes splunking in caves way the hell under the earth.
Yikes! That's scary shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was out in California in the early 80s, and there was a guy named Gary Figner who was doing something very similar to the Ollie Pop, and he called it the Fig Hop. So yeah, you're right. It's but it was a nollie. So it was a nollie. He'd do a nollie 180, but it's the same type of thing. And he was doing them over tennis court nets. So again, flatland ollie. It's all. There's so much. Things are getting invented. Here and there, and So Dewar gets credited with some things, but hey,
the funny part about it is, it doesn't really matter who invented it. It's just a matter that you had fun doing it.
Fuck yeah.
Be the only thing. You had fun doing it. Other people were doing it when I was doing it. I'm sure of it. It's just like saying this is the only universe in the whole, universe, other universe. And there's so many universes. This is the only Earth with, us. There's something out there, maybe. highly probable. So it's highly probable that somebody was doing a jerk flip instead of an Ollie pop. Now, Paul Schmitt summed it up, says, man, it's a good thing your nickname is Ollie because it's so much of a cooler trick calling it Ollie than it is calling it like some other funny weird name he had for it, you know?
You know,
Well, it's
what
interesting.
you're mentioning there, back then, just to take a picture was costing you almost $1 a pop every time you snapped a picture. And nobody had video, no smartphones. It was rare just to get pictures when you think about it.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, you know, through all these movies that were ever out, Ray Allen, who took more video than anybody, he worked for our TV station. He had 3/4-inch videotape, which was high quality back then, you know? And, I mean, he took all the practice sessions. He's got, after me, he's got like Hawk all the way up, way past, and he didn't sell the film. And he lives, you know, doesn't have much money. He's a retired veteran or whatever. And you know, he just takes surf pictures all day long and sells them to the surfers on the beach. It's pretty hilarious in California. And he's got the best video of anybody on earth. And I think Stacy had to beg him to get a teeny little bit of video to make a couple things he's made, you know? And he's supposed to give me 5 minutes of my video. I helped him out financially a little bit when I was in a struggle. And I'm waiting still. I might have to send the boys that we went out to New Mexico and collect on that video.
Yeah. That's it. $600 will get you anything out there. So I think Tim, he just left. So Tim has a very good statement around co-inventing tricks and how many, you know, have been done, you know, over the years, you know, being renamed or, you know, we've got Edgar invented the rock and roll in, you know, 78, 79. I've seen zero pictures of him doing a rock and roll before it was called a rock and roll. He called it the Wampole. So, you know, there's the Indie Air, there's all, you know, you name it.
Yeah, the Indie Air was done by Gunnar Hago, like
76.
Yeah. At Spring Valley at that, you know. So
I don't even like to talk about, I should say don't want to talk about, but I don't even like to hear like this guy did this first, this guy did this first. You know what? Whoever is doing it and had fun doing it is what I like to hear about. That's they had where they first started landing them, and it was really unbelievable because when you do a real ollie when your knees are in your face, it's weightlessness for a decent amount of time, and it's just an awesome feeling when you land it good, you know.
Yep.
Alan, I got a question. So the first time you came to the Basin, we got a couple of pictures and videos, and you got the corduroys on, and you're doing these ollies like out the side of the third wall to the flat.
Uh-huh.
And the next year, you're doing them out of the vert, and you were doing them in the pool over the coping. So, I mean, that was a progression, right? I mean, when you first came to the Basin with the corduroys, how long had you been landing them in Hollywood?
Well, I mean, seriously, for quite a while, I landed some. I didn't land a lower percentage. I landed. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, the whole long pants thing, how the world goes around in a circle again, huh? Because I got flown to Lakewood from Stacy. They wouldn't put me in Skateboarder magazine unless I wore shorts. So you see the whitest legs on earth because I didn't wear shorts. And Barry from SIO had the most awesome shorts, you know, with those hip pads in there. That's my secret to being able to fall well, was those hip pads, you know. Insulate foam that you could throw an egg off a 4-story building with an inch around it with insulate and not break. That's the claim at least. And yeah, I mean, so, you know, I have a terrible memory. So you have to interview McGill one time because Mike McGill has the best memory of anyone on the planet Earth, possibly, as far as skateboarding goes. And he could tell you, you know, days, months, weeks. It's unbelievable. And so if I was up in Gainesville with shorts on, it's probably pre-79, you know?
So, summer of 78.
Yeah, probably
78 or, no, that had to be summer 78 with long pants. And then 79 was you were full on riding. You weren't riding the hand-me-down board from Stacy. You were on a bright light.
He was trying to be boards for a very long time before. They were just little, like a beamer board, like with one beam down the middle, and it had Stacy Peralta stickers on it.
Yep, I remember that.
Sent me Warp Tail 1s and 2s way before that. So before I ever got sponsored by anybody, I was getting Warp Tails for a long, long time. I keep one, sell one, so we could have a little money.
That's the way they did it back then. Keep one, sell one.
Who was on the famous Burger King tour of Florida with Dan Murray and Anderson and myself? And a skateboard buddy of ours was a manager of a Burger King, and he left a box of those scratch-off cards behind the back door so we could have them. And we made our way all the way to Sean Petty's in Tallahassee, going in front of the Burger King and selling complete meals for, like, I don't know, $1 or something like that. And had enough gas with the sucker window Honda that Dan Murray had, and the Toyota Corolla. I think it was that Anderson had it, or
Anderson, yeah, that white Toyota. Yep, fuck yeah.
It might have been Burt Park. Burt Parks had the world's most famous Corolla. He had more McDonald's wrappers in it. When I would sit in it, it would go up to my chin, I think.
You know what I remember back in the day, it was like each week there seemed to be a new trick, and the crowds would start hooting and hollering at every new thing, and it was just really fabulous to see the different terrain and what you all could create with them. So
right.
just...
A couple people have mentioned this about me. If they actually have some film and seen some film of me at some of the bigger contests, and they always notice, like, they call my name and I would never go in the bowl. And a lot of times they would call my name 1 or 2 times. And that was a little psych trick I had to make myself differentiate from the person in front of me, who was incredibly awesome, who had a great score, and the guys were great. It was just kind of like, that was my little trick. They outlawed throwing stickers into the crowd because I had tons of those. That would get everybody going always, if you guys remember that. And so I would always do some contest. I don't forget which one it was. And I didn't like the group, but My Sharona was a big hit back then. So everybody always had their own music for their runs. And I didn't like a My Sharona, but it was a popular song. And everybody hated it. So I played it. And I won that contest. And it's just, you have to do something a little bit different because everybody were great skaters back then. There were some awesome guys and doing some neat stuff, And, I always had a feeling that you weren't a professional skateboarder unless you made money. So we didn't make any little money once you turned professional. That was kind of a joke. But that you didn't fall. In the old days, you didn't fall. If you fall, you lost for sure. Nowadays, if you just pull off one outrageous thing and you fall 5 times, it doesn't make a difference. Now, I don't care which way you look at it. It's fine. It's cool. You did something insane. But it was just a little different mentality back, 40 plus years ago, But, it was a great time skating back there. Great friends. I mean, I have to admit, the Skate Legends tour you arranged, was that incredible or what? To actually get everybody together?
Still amazing. Yeah, there's.
Fortunately, Schwab heard himself early on. He has to hang out with my ex-wife. We rented that big van that takes up and down the mountain,
That's right.
I was driving that.
You got to put another skate legend together. You can all have your walkers and move them down there. I could have done this.
So we were driving. I was driving this van.
I'm years sorry. In a row. We did eight years of that. And Mott was a member of a couple of them. We started taking it from Albuquerque up to Colorado because there was stuff up in Colorado we wanted to skate. It was just amazing. That was so much fun. And, it's exactly right. Everyone's having fun. Some people, weren't crushing it. We had freaking Bennett Harada along there one year. That's a fucking crusher.
Bro, how do that with my trucks? Remember how tight my trucks were? Reggie is he's a pretty clear thinking guy. What got into us to ride our pool boards with, bones,
in school,
high diameter wheels, and everyone died. And then remember, we were almost at the end, and they had that little doorway. We're probably going, 25 to 35 miles an hour, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, there's this little teeny doorway. You got to make it through there, And I remember this. We bailed, both of us, right? Because I think there's some guys going real slow in front of it. and it went through my whatever kind of unbelievably thick knee pads with multiple cups on them were. It went through all the cups, through all the padding, and into our knees ground into the ground, you know? And we were all bloody and stuff. I know you probably have pictures for that somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And we were laughing so hard. It was unbelievable. And we were in such pain. It was great.
Well, I was driving the van with Sharon, and
Right.
we go down to the bottom of the hill because as long as it take us to get down there, you guys would be there to go back up. So we go to pick you guys up, and we're missing two guys. We're like, well, where's Reggie? Where's Alan? And then you guys come rolling up a couple minutes later. There's blood everywhere, and you're laughing your asses off. You had more fun wiping out than they did just going down the hill.
Yeah, that was Indian school ditch with a wind, downhill wind is freaking gnarly. And that's what they did on pool boards and tight trucks.
Oh,
It was like,
that
you
doesn't
guys
sound fun at all.
they had a blast.
That's pretty cool, man. Let me take a picture of that on my phone here.
That's a serious video camera up on the stand over there too. This is serious
Yeah, I
stuff.
think this was actually filmed for the wide world of sports. Actually,
Yeah, well, okay. If this is what it was, I thought it was Del Mar that was doing that. But if this is what it was, this was supposed to air. And I always hated football because they didn't air this because the football game ran long, and everybody at Solid Surf ran down to Kmart and had all the TVs tuned to it, and it never showed. It was a bummer. I'm not sure if this was the one or if it was at Del Mar. I think they called it the World Skateboard Championships or some baloney like that. CBS Sports or something like that, and it ran long. But yeah, that was a pretty awesome pool, huh?
That was a fun pool. There it is. Okay, that's the one.
The white legs. That's the famous picture of C.R. Stesic. Now, he was right below me, and I smashed into him and ate crap a lot of times. What would happen, I would land and I would over-rotate, and it was pretty mellow on the other side, and I'd do like a 180 and go, fakie. And he would be right there, and I'd smash into him, and he'd just keep going, keep going.
So that's fascinating because I do remember seeing sequences of this, and it did look like you were throwing it around revert. So not only did you invent the Ollie, but you invented the Ollie revert.
It's pretty late on. The funny part though about those beamers, I'll tell you a funny beamer story. So, you shoot your board sometimes when you're skating, you shoot that board and you go 20, 30 feet in the air, right? Puts to the bottom of the bowl, right? And you take a beamer, even with those nose bones and tail bones on it, and you shoot it in the air, it breaks into pieces, okay? It demolishes the nose of the tail. It's gone. It's like I would ride the board with a messed up tail because I never had a tail. If you remember, I drilled my trucks back like 3/4 of an inch or more, So people say Ollie pops with the tail, but not true because the board would have to be so far angled into your face to touch the tail. I wasn't touching the tail. I was just unweighted, Do you remember, George? My boards were always re-drilled. They had no tail.
Always. Yep. You always re-drilled them. We talked about that in one of the other issues of this was that they always had that short ass tail. We've got pictures of you on a warp tail, and you can see how far those trucks are, towards the back tail. That's the key to the Ollie. Got to get that got to get it up. Got to unweight.
In theory, yep. And it was pretty neat. But those were some good times, man. I've got the X-rays to show you about that are that old, comparatively from 1981 till over the years. That's about 2 years ago. My two fingers don't work anymore. These two fingers can't go up, and that's because I have lots of broken bones in my wrists and missing bones. Where'd they go? I don't know. But they want to fuse them. I'm not letting them do it. But and then from scraping back and forth, it hurt the ligaments in those bones. And you think, hey, Alan hadn't skated since 2006-ish, and but you feel like I can barely walk nowadays. I was just in Mexico a couple weeks ago and we're walking a little bit. I can't walk, man. My knees get all swollen up to this day. I had to ice them, and it's all from the surgeries and stuff on the knees. Concrete skate parks and crappy knee pads don't come. There's a combination back then didn't work, but nowadays no pads work. So these kids are unbelievable these days, right?
I have gone from having grown up wearing pads, and now I don't. I just simply can't. For me to go to my knees, it's far too painful, and I completely had to relearn how to fall.
I use my hips most of the time.
Yep. At this point, if I was I have a brand spanking new pair of knee pads that I've never worn, and I've owned them for like 8 months, and I skate 3 days. I skate usually 3 days a week.
So interesting piece. So again, we're talking a lot about the Ollie, but then we got to talk about some of the other stuff. Now I know that part of the time that you were skating in the Gold Cup series, you skated in the era where they had compulsories.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when I just said, this is ridiculous. I can't do an invert. And I want to do an invert.
You had
freedom and individuality. And
you had to do an invert and you had to do a layback. I remember those were two compulsory.
Wow.
And there's pictures of you doing a layback, if I remember right.
Yeah, if the terrain could fit for me, I could do them, and slide them far. But if it was just a straight ball, no, I wasn't doing it. But if I could find the right pitch and this and that, I could do them. Inverts, it's funny. I started doing inverts, small ones, and then this is after I quit skating and started skating in 2001-ish. At my bowl, I could do inverts. And then all of a sudden, I was doing it for a few months, and then I could never do them again. It was the most bizarre thing ever. I'm going, wow.
I know that feeling.
I think in Craig's book, there's a letter from Stacy to me saying, Alan, you must learn these tricks, blah, 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 and you must not go behind the ramp with who, blah, 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 blah. It's not good for your image.
Jesus.
And, oh boy, has skating changed. Now, if you probably didn't do that, you'd be like, no one watched it, right?
Nobody wants to be told what to do. This is skateboarding. We can't do that. That's not
yeah,
gonna...
So I didn't like, I was complaining to those guys saying, here you go, you've got guys doing 4 to 6 setup moves to do one move. But yeah, they can do an invert. Yeah, great. They did 4 backside airs first, and then they did an invert. And then they did a bunch of other tricks, the same exact thing, kick, carves or this or that, and did a trick. I'm doing a different trick at every wall, 16, 17 different tricks, variations of the tricks. And always a surprise, always something weird to surprise everybody, That was like what me and Stacey would talk about sometimes. Like, what do you do that's different to, differentiate yourself from everybody? Besides do something really crazy or stupid, And here I got to learn a couple tricks and do them in certain orders with no setup moves ever.
Yeah.
And here they are. Everybody else is doing 5, 6 tricks in their runs, but 9 million setup moves. I didn't love that.
Did you like emulating any of the other skaters?
Oh yeah, man. Of course. It was great. It was awesome. I mean, to skate. I mean, you name when we skated with them, right? I mean,
right.
It was incredible skating, from the likes of a Sean Petty, who would every so often show up and do some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Ripping it up. Ed always doing some kind of scramble. McGill always ripped, smoothest style of anybody, right?
Right. Strong, very strong.
And
that's Clearwater there with Tim Scroggs.
Are you seeing these images, Alan?
Oh yeah, look at that guy head on the bones, the tracker stickers. They gave us $1.50 or something if you had to get a picture with those stickers on them. I don't know, something like that. I'm joking.
The sound didn't get transferred too well, so we don't have too much sound anymore. So
that's fine.
Let's see.
Scroggs was always a hoot.
Yeah, it's great, man. And over all these years until when he happened it all, I always would run into him. Weird, I'd go through Orlando Airport and run into him all the time for years.
Yep.
Rainbow Wave.
Who's that, McGill or Mid? Because that's how smooth they're skating.
That was West Aho.
Look how smooth he is. McGill's goofy, Holmes.
So This got skinny little legs, but he's getting all the way up to the lip every time.
That's the thing. It was kinky, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was weird to skate.
But we were the king of kink without getting too kinky. You know what I'm saying? We were the king of kink. Oh,
Smith stop. What? Okay, there's McGill in the white helmet, or is that Gelfand?
That's Alan right there.
Oh, look, there it is.
The long pants.
With a cess slide.
Let's see. Gelfand's not doing too many tricks in this wall. This is early Gelfand at Basin, probably. You know?
It was a tough.
Oh yeah, look
It's
at
a warp tail.
Look at that little baby air.
Look at that board. It's a warp tail.
Yeah,
This is-
early Basin. I think they'll skate it better than this.
Pre-bright light.
Tails, tail stalls on top of that lip. It's only like what 4 inches wide, right?
There's no stickers on that helmet. It's got one shirt.
Stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, what year do you think this is, man? This
It's
is
78. It's no doubt. It's 78.
There's no platform up top on the third wall.
All right.
Yeah, man. I can get up that third wall.
Look at that. Oh,
Oh,
air on a 6-inch wide board.
Well, it'd be cool to see this and then the stuff that you have with me on the newer stuff, you know?
well, we got more of that coming. I just want to say this right now. Whoever's watching that was 12 feet high with 4 feet of vert. This is
I was all like, well, how tall was I? Yeah.
so this is Flying Wheels in Gadsden, Alabama.
Ah, look at that air.
That park is rad too, wasn't it?
And this was past vert
That
And there's
park
no
was
flat bottom.
kinky.
just a little bit.
Barely any flat bottom. How's that?
Yeah, it was and it had a cool pool and a really neat snake run. I don't
I
think
get
they-
it.
Look at that Ollie. What?
Baby Ollie, yeah.
That's
Oh,
got some height there. That's not trivial.
I was not going to never learned an ollie, but your cess slides were amazing. I love the cess. Oh, look at this.
Here we go. Clearwater SkatePark.
all right. Clearwater.
Here comes Kink. Here it's that. Kink.
Rainbow.
Oh, look at that.
Oh. Rainbow wave on the rainbow wave back pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good trick. Look at
Look at that style. Look at those Clearwater guys in the background. All those yellow. Look at those. There's Fisher, Todd Sondergrath, Pat Parker. I think that's me in the blue helmet. Yeah.
I like that little like faking a set slide in on that too. That was pretty rad.
That's
The fake
he always had
360.
something. He had some tricks.
Probably a mistake.
The only time we skated this bowl was when there was a competition in it. Nobody rode it except for when we had to.
Yeah, that wasn't a whole lot of fun.
Oh my God.
And I noticed the tic tacs across the top there because you're in a car.
Oh, look at Bockham. Bockham, lower left-hand corner. There's
John,
John.
Oh, yeah.
Fish,
There he is.
and somebody from Sims. Is that Fulmer?
Hi,
No,
folks.
that's one of the Texture boys, I believe. I don't know. We'll have to see. Run it.
That's Fisher over there, right?
Yeah, that's Fish in the white helmet.
What are you doing here, Alan?
Oh, I want to comment on this library thing. Now get ready to pause it because I'm starting a rumor. See this guy here? This guy's totally broke, but he saw Alan riding on public property. He made a fortune selling no skateboarding signs to all the cities and stores in the world.
There
all
you-
Alan's fault.
Way to go, Alan. Way to go.
So the pool bowl.
Whoa, look at that tail stall on the cope. Nice rock and roll.
That's right.
Jacket.
Right, so but look at that, how far out he got on the other wall. It was hard to get up.
Didn't deck it though. I don't know.
I didn't skate very good there. Look at that. I'm just barely getting.
Here it comes. Whoop-pow.
Woo! A little front center baby one.
Is that Pizza Deck? Did you ride Pizza Deck, Alan?
Oh yeah, I remember. So I originally traveled around. I got to California, I think, the first time on Pizza Deck stuff or something like that. Me and McGill. I'd sell little 1 inch by 1 inch pieces or something like that. Rumor has it. Yeah, that was Pizza Deck.
That front side air is not trivial. That was a big front side air for that third wall.
I don't know who that guy is.
I was sponsored by Vans back then.
Oh, there's audio on this if you want to play it.
No, I really don't.
And he just play Temple softball.
No, pants and I wouldn't be sponsored. But back then I was sponsored by Vans, and that pizza deck, if you remember, it would eat up your shoes in no time at all.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, look at
Sticky grit sandpaper.
the Christian Hosoi Skateboarder Magazine headband going on.
Hosoi was a dream, his daddy's dream right now. Hosoi is like 8 years old.
That's his
Flex boy?
Yeah.
What the hell?
What was that? That was a little Ollie with my hands touching the ground.
Look at that.
It's a Z Flex.
I love the headband. Holy crap. Nice.
And the crowd goes wild.
Exactly. Who is this guy? He's ripping.
Fun, isn't it? Ooh, here's a real skater. That's for going there. Ooh.
Oh, nice little. I like that little stall slide. That's pretty clean. Little backside air. Holy cow.
Who is that?
That's still beefy for that time period. Holy cow.
Who is that?
That's
Me?
you, bro.
I didn't do backside air. What was that? Backside
Yeah,
air?
apparently you did.
It was a backside tail stall lift
That was a tail stall
thing.
ball,
Yeah.
There it is again. Oh, almost.
I know later on I was like a stall up there for a long time, you know?
You did some of the cleanest stalls. It always looked good. So Alan, did you have a photographer you like to work with? Did you like to work with Stesic or Goodrich or any of those guys, or it didn't matter? There's people going to be taking photos regardless.
Well, listen, I think Tracker paid us, depending on what it was. Like, if you got like a full page, you got like $100. So like any possibility of getting something in a magazine, I was down for it, you know? I think the funnest guys to take pictures for were Stesic because he was the most creative and crazy. I mean, he was not scared of getting smashed. And he had cool equipment because he had a lot of military equipment because, you know, he used regular Nikon drives.
Yeah.
Glenn Friedman, of course, had the most creative shots always. Same thing, and then, you know.
Did you work with Casimus?
Yeah.
Any of those guys?
Goodrich had always everything put together really well. You know, it was great. And then Casimus would get where the action was at. He had the best camera, man. He had the fastest drive camera, I think, back then of anybody, of a regular camera crew, besides, let's say, Stesic's crazy homemade military crap, you know? But yeah, I mean, all the guys, it was great. I was a ham back then, I'm sure I was. What the heck, you know? And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Look at that. That's
Goodrich.
Nice.
Yeah. He had some lights stuff at Marina Del Rey, I think it was.
I think that's Del Mar.
It's 3 rows of tiles, so I want to say it's Del Mar.
I think that's the Del Mar. That's the Del Mar deep bowl. That's the not the keyhole, but the one
square.
beside it.
You sure about
maybe, I don't know.
Or was it possibly Oasis?
Maybe Oasis. I fucking hated Oasis.
Yeah, Goodrich had those side lights he was playing with. He'd light it from the side and do all
that
synchronized stuff.
So
what do
you were obviously doing incredibly well during the Gold Cups and all that, and then vert skating basically just died essentially a painful death because all the parks closed. When I mean, you kind of faded out before the bare end of skateboarding itself happened. What were you doing in your life at that point that you wanted to pursue outside of skateboarding?
Well, in '81, they start. You know, skateboarding was a lot different back then. It was distributors. So, like, let's say we went. Ed, you were there in Huntsville, right? So, wasn't there a distributor there that would take us around and kind of like show us off and like we get to skate a spot here and there.
Not sure. I don't think I ever made Huntsville, Alabama, but.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you went to Huntsville, Alabama, but around that, and we go to Texas, we go here or there, and even down here, they had this company called Tough Flex, and they would make you go here, there, everywhere, and you were told what to do, and you know what? I don't like to be told what to do. You know what I'm saying? So I would always, when I would go on these tours for PAL, I would go on these tours by myself, flying at that age, land someplace, and then somebody who was supposed to be my chaperone, who was a distributor for PAL, would take us around to some different places to skate. And I was always find the guys who had the cool skate spots with no one around. And I would always go to, literally, if I was to go to one place, I'd go to 5 or 6 places. And I always gave away my stuff, man. I didn't sell nothing when I was on those tours. Whoever was not necessarily the best skater, but whoever was the coolest dude, I'd give him all my stuff. I don't know if you remember me giving any boards away, but I always gave everything away.
So like Venezuela and things like that. So I know you did some trips down there. So that's the type of stuff you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about we did the Venezuela Super Skate Show, McGill and I kind of ruled that thing. It was great to hear people booing certain skaters, and liking us. But no, we I would go on all these trips when there wasn't contests and stuff. I remember, multiple different, 5 or 6 trips I went on just literally by myself. And I would meet the distributor there, and, they would take us around to a bunch of places and skate. And I would always escape them and go find some dudes who are, skating good spots that didn't have ramps, backyard ramps or a pool or something like that. And we skate there, No paparazzi.
Wait, let's see.
I don't remember where it was at. I have to ask McGill, but Tracker sent me a case of magnesium trucks. I don't know how many that is, but it was at least 10 skateboards worth, probably. And we went to Sweden, I think, with them. I don't think I was let Stacey know, but I was selling those trucks there for so much money.
I remember calling you up when I got off, when Gullwing stopped paying me. I called you up and said, Alan, Gullwing's not paying me anymore. Can you give me some trucks? And you're like, what do you need, George? What do you need, George? And you sent me a set of magnesiums. That was that was sweet. That was probably about that same time period.
Hey guys, thanks for sitting in with Skateboarding Bros. We've had a lucky guest with us. We have Alan Gelfand today, and he invented a little move in the 70s that is still the most innovative move. That's the basis for almost all the new tricks today. We got Tim Mott, George McClellan, Phil Kiokio. Like us, share, do whatever you want to do. Let us know what you think, and we appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Peace. You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.